Hello, welcome to Fish Fingers and Custard, the Explosion Network's Doctor Who after show, where we talk about and discuss each and every episode of Doctor Who. This, of course, is the finale of Doctor Who. Flux. This week's episode, The Vanquishers. It's the finale. It's an interesting time. Joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey, Dylan, excited to be here. Hey, Dylan, I'm also excited to be here. Dylan, I too am excited to be here on this episode of Fish Fingers and Custard.
By audio, whatever it's called, by dimensional audio, whatever, you know. I hope you got some good headphones on for that segment. Chapter 6, The Vanquishers. Directed by Azhur, Saleem, written by Chibnall. In the final epic chapter in the story of the Flux, all hope is lost. The forces of darkness are in control, but what the monsters have won, who can he counter? But when the monsters have won, who can he count upon to save the universe? What did you think of the finale of Flux, Ash?
Wow. I liked it. You know, I think it may have been the most ambitious episode of the season. If it was like taking the most wild and outlandish swings, I think, and kind of policing everything kind of all together. It was an interesting episode that ultimately resulted in everything kind of going back to the way it was.
Yeah, I can't say I enjoyed this. I feel like the thing is, if you're going to do nothing, at least do something. And this is my biggest problem. Like, I feel like there's just so many things that are just like shrug, you know, like, what was that? How about that thing that was set up? Do you want to resolve that? Maybe. Hey, Chibnall, do you want to like finish that thing you've set up? I got like 4 specials, so like it just seems like such a random mix of stuff. I feel like all my like steam for the season and how much I was overall enjoying this. A lot of it lay, of course, in the finale being good, and I was let down by the finale. So, I feel like the season overall, I would say I enjoyed Flux, but the finale was just a mess. I felt like I was like, what the fuck is even going on with half this thing? And let me just jump straight away to the biggest annoyance I had, and maybe it's not what you think it's going to be, but Belle and Vinda? Yeah.
Maybe that's us as the audience, like putting too much. Yeah. Sorry, me coming here each week, coming up with crazy fan theories about them. But you know, there's still 4 specials to go.
I know, but we shouldn't have to rely on this. Are we really going to come back to them as characters?
Sure, why not? Everybody wants to see Cana Vista again.
Well, yeah, that's a different thing. Like, we know he's probably going to come back because he's got history, which, we'll get to in a sec. But Belle and Vinda, this whole season, I didn't need the big, like, oh, they're the Doctor's parents, like, thing. Like, that was outlandish, but I was, like, a little bit more, like, after the last episode. I was like, you know what, maybe. But I just needed something to be, like, why they put, like, they were just people, I guess.
Listen, Dylan, people can be traveling the universe and be pregnant. It doesn't have to mean everybody's connected.
No, like I kept saying, like, I enjoy this Belle character, like she was kick-ass or whatever. But then it's like, it's a thing. Like, so yeah, I felt like that was like a huge disappointment. So Joseph Williamson, let's jump to him next. They try to do a what was it? They try and do a Van Gogh moment for him, I guess, but it's not really the same. So, like a whole send him back to his time, but like here's what happens to him, sad thing, but made all these doors and stuff, so cool. Like, again, we kept seeing him show up, so he could show up last episode and be like, doors, and then this episode be like, doors, I build a city, peace out, I'm gonna go die now. Well, I don't know where to go. Kate Stewart, I felt like I was let down by too. She didn't really do as much, like, sort of leading the charge and being the whole, like, I'm leader of the resistance against the Sontarans. I'm like, are you? Like, where's the team? Who are you leading? Like, what are we really going on with? Grand Serpent, Yep. Like he's left out into oblivion, I guess, to sit there and think about his ways so they can bring him back, I guess, potentially. But, like this whole, like, who's he actually, what was actually his deal? What was the whole thing?
Like to be in control of stuff. He wanted to take over the earth. I don't know.
Like there was a whole thing there. So that was set up and sort of just like pushed away. The professor in this episode obviously just sort of gets pushed into a corner. He was a lot more interesting last week when he was like separated, at least just got to be with his crew, not with the doctor there and stuff like that. Azhur and the Swarm. Yep. They're their thing, aren't they? Yep.
Listen,
what was their deal?
They were going to deliver the flux
doctor.
to the time.
They're going to deliver the flux to time, but time said, fuck you. And also, fuck you. But we still don't know who they are, other than there's people that the doctor has history with back from the day, I guess.
Yep.
Other than that, nothing really revealed there. So that's cool. Claire's a character that's back in this episode. Diane apparently doesn't like Dan by the end anymore because he got kidnapped and couldn't come to their date. So, yeah. Calvisto, obviously, really good. Everyone loves the dog alien. I feel like if anyone's going to walk away from this Flux season with anything, it's going to be like Calvista. Cool. We like him. He has a cool story. Sad story by this, of course. By the end of this, we learn that he's now similar to the Doctor. He's the last of his kind. Calvista is, Same times there. Also, he has history of the Doctor when she was working with. I'm meant to blanking. What the fuck's it called? What's it called? The Division? Right, yeah.
Division.
When Calvista was working for the Division, knew the Doctor. That's why we had that whole flashback memory thing an episode or two ago or whatever, and she was very confused, and it was confusing because it was like, well, we've met him. Why didn't he say anything? It's because apparently he's got something put in his mind, like Amanda Waller stuck a bomb, and if he talks to the Doctor about the Doctor or Division, then his brain will explode, is basically what was the go, right? I think. Something like that. So, yeah, what do you take from all that? Like, who do you think is putting bombs in people's heads to make them not talk about the Division? Is it the Doctor? Was the Doctor evil?
It's the Division.
Who they?
I don't know. Whoever's in charge.
It was the Doctor, wasn't it, though? We all know secretly it was the Doctor. We all know deep down.
I mean, who knows? Maybe. There's a gazillion different explanations what they could go with,
All right, and then try to explain to me the end of this episode. Go.
Like which part?
Just everything once time starts getting involved.
They all go home. They all go home their separate ways. That's it.
Nope. Explain.
I don't.
You reckon?
So from which part? Which part do you want to?
Well, as soon as time shows up.
I'm going to read from the Wikipedia. Let's go.
Right, let's go.
From here,
what they've got.
The transmissions reveal the Centaurians offering alliance to the Cybermen and Daleks. In reality, Centaurians are using the guise of Peace Alliance in order to sacrifice them to slow the flux, thus vanquishing their enemies while remaining safe behind the Lupari shields. Claire is able to escape the Centaurian ship, but Jericho is not. The Doctor also manages to rescue Vinda and Diane, who share a happy reunion with Dan and Belle. In a turn of plans, the Doctor reforms the Lupari shield behind the Centaurians instead of in front of them, thus leaving the Centaurians and Jericho to be consumed by the flux. Some of the flux makes it past the shield, shows the Doctor uses the passenger, a source of endless matter, to absorb the flux remnants. Azhur and Swarm bring the Doctor to Atropos to sacrifice it to time, but since the flux was destroyed, thus failing to free time, time destroys them. Time lets the Doctor go, but forebodingly warns her that the end is coming for her before reunifying her. In the Liverpool tunnels, Kate and Vinda strand the Grand Serpent on a small asteroid through one of the doors. Vinda and Belle decide to travel Calvinista. Back in Liverpool, Dan invites Diane to go out for a drink with him, which they're unable to do due to what happened. However, Diane, due to her experiences, turns down the offer. The Doctor invites Dan to join her and Yaz on the travels. The Doctor deposits the fob watch containing her lost memories in the TARDIS interior, telling her to hide it until she's really asked for it.
Now, the thing I'm looking for amongst all of this is an explanation as to how and where and somehow why, how most importantly, did they fix what the Flux already did?
I don't think they did.
So
they didn't explain. I think it'll just end up being fixed.
So most of the universe is wiped out by the Flux. The first wave of the Flux took like all the universe out. And now everyone's like, it's fine because Earth's okay.
Yep.
That's how I took it. I was like, Earth is apparently the only place that survived. And the Doctor's like, nah, she's right.
She's right. Everybody else has had millennia. You know?
This
all these future timelines that you go through through the history, all those have been wiped out apparently.
I'm not usually one. Like I'm for certain shows and movies, I can very much be like, for this sort of thing, it's fine. Like I can plot hole. Like I don't need to think about it too much. But this was one thing where it does annoy me because the entire show was built around the Flux, and the first episode's
the Flux is in the title.
Yeah, it's in the title. The first episode literally has them running away from thing. The rest of the show literally has characters being like, man, the galaxy's so empty. Everyone's wiped out. Shit's fucked. Where is everyone? They're all dead. The remainder of people gather on a planet. They're all getting like eaten into space dust or whatever. So then you get to the end and I'm like, man, how are they gonna fix all this? How's the Doctor gonna fix this? Because of course I know the Doctor's gonna fix it. I'm just waiting to see how the Doctor's gonna fix it. I just need to see how that happens. But what ends up happening is nothing. And the credits started rolling and I was like, okay, like it would have made more sense if the Doctor at least was like, now we got to figure out how to fix this, like rewind the Flux or something. But no, it's just like, do you want to come on a journey? Do you want to travel around space and time? I'm like, where? Because I guess you're going to have to always travel back in time, because you certainly can't be traveling forward in time now because the Flux has destroyed all the planets. So if you go forward in time, there's nothing there. You can't travel to other planets in the current time period because they're all dead. The Flux destroyed them all. So where are you going, Doctor? Nowhere. That's why in the Halloween special, apparently it's still set on, not Halloween, New Year's Day, sorry, whatever. Yeah. New Year's special, still on Earth, it seems. So that makes sense because Earth is now where Doctor Who can only be set because it's the only planet that remains. You know? So am I overacting, or is this like a legit sort of just very in your face dumb unresolved thing?
Nope, that seems right.
Yes. There's no way that, like, and look, if someone can be like, look, you missed it, here's the thing. Because if there is an explanation in there amongst all of this as to how all of this is fixed, it had to have been a blink and miss it moment. Now, I've only watched the episode once, so maybe I did blink and miss it. But even if it is a blink and miss it moment, here's my advice to budding writers out there. If you make a show or a movie or anything that revolves around a big event, don't make the resolution to that a blink and miss it moment. Probably make it like a main part, whether you explain how your main event is resolved. Because I mean, me personally, I'm not a scholar or a professor of writing over here, but that's personally how I feel. I like to see it. I don't want to, I don't want to blink and miss it. I don't want to have to step away out for 2 seconds. I watched Tenet in the cinema, went and took a leak, came back, still understood what was happening. You know what I mean? Yes. I can pee fast.
I mean,
this has got nothing.
I'm at the point in life where, like, if you go to the cinema, you should be able to hold your bladder for 2.5 hours, in my opinion. But
I can't. I mean, once it's up to 2.5 hours, I'm like, I need at least one. I'm probably gonna have to go to the toilet at least once, especially if I don't drink, right? But I've got my drink, and then, so can't do it. So anyway, Doctor Who. How do we feel? How do you feel, Flux, overall?
I mean, it was okay.
Yeah.
Obviously let down a little bit, but, there were some great character moments, and that kind of stuff. There was some fun banter for the Doctor this episode, her being split in three, across three different places and that kind of stuff. That was kind of interesting to see her react to that and, kind of work with herself. It's weird that she's probably her best companion has maybe been herself this series.
Herself?
No offense. Even though I love Dan,
She spent a fuck all time with her companions this entire run.
Yep.
Really? Most of it she spent away, which is interesting. So,
yeah.
Come into next season, Doctor, first time ever, no companion. Imagine that.
Maybe.
Imagine
Alone
that.
Doctor.
I mean, technically, David Tennant did it for his specials run, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how they're setting Jodie. So they've set Jodie up to do a similar sort of for night David Tennant run for a couple specials up to the end. However, she is doing it with companions, and she doesn't know she's going to die once all the specials are over, technically. Whereas David Tennant's Doctor was like, I'm going to die soon, so I'm just sort of just going to hit all the hot spots. So, so I mean, there was a little bit of difference, I guess, but yeah. Overall, I think the Flux is the best Chibnall Whittaker season of Doctor Who. I feel like that's sort of easy to say, no? You don't
maybe
reckon?
the first season? I don't know.
I know. I'd rate this one. I feel like
I think it's been a
most
little bit more consistent, maybe.
I liked 5. I'd say I liked 5 out of 6 of these episodes. I'm not saying I loved 5 out of 6, but I'd say at most every other episode I was like, yeah, it's okay. And then some of them I was like, that was really good. And then, yeah, it's okay. Whereas this one, finale, I'm like, nah, it's bad. Yeah, not really my thought. Still looking forward to the special and seeing through the run to the end, of course, and seeing what ends up happening to these.
What I wish they'd
Doctor
done is they'd set up what these specials were going to do. You guys, we realize the rest of the universe has been destroyed. Maybe there's some way we can bring it back. And then cut to the specials.
Yeah. That would have made a lot more sense. And maybe that's... I don't know. That would have been... I would have been fine. If at the end of this,
there's just so many questions left unresolved. What was the passenger doing with all the people?
I don't know. That's the other question, yeah.
Where did Vinder and Diane go?
Yeah. There is way too many questions and answers. I'm not saying I needed everything answered, and I know we talked about last week, would she open the fob watch and all that sort of stuff. I was no, and I said yes. No, I said I hope so, just because I kind of just want it out of the way, instead of being dragged out across the specials. But
Dylan, don't make people relive their trauma.
That's true.
But
you know she's going to open it. You know she's going to open it. All right, put your bet in now. Do you truly believe that Chibnall is not going to have her open the fob watch?
She's going to open it before she regenerates.
Yeah. You really
maybe
think he's
that's
going to
what
be
it is. The
hey,
trauma
Russell
is so
T.
bad
Davies.
that
maybe she regenerates because the trauma is so bad. Just hits a heart attack, drops dead, regenerates. Forgets everything she knew.
She goes through 3 or 4 while she's because it's so bad.
So bad, yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to happen because it would just be really dumb for because the fob watch is still part of this whole lonely child, whatever it's called, arc thing, which is Chibnall's whole run. It's his whole story. So for him not to open up and finish that up by the end of his run here would be silly because it'd be like, hey, Russell T. Davies, finish off the thing I started, the main thing, and decide what happens with it even, so that'd be silly. So yeah, she's definitely going to open it, but I just kind of, I don't know. I hope it's not right in the last episode or right before she regenerates. I don't know. We'll see anyway. Well, that is it for this episode of Fish Fingers and Custard. We'll be back in what would it be at this point?
Less than a month.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, about 3 weeks, I guess, for the 3.5 weeks to discuss the special when that's on. Is it New Year's Day or New Year's Eve? I actually can't remember.
New Year's Day, so it'll probably be the 2nd.
You reckon?
For us, it will be the 2nd.
Okay. So we'll probably have another episode out Monday, the 3rd of January. So that is 1, 2, 3, I guess 4 weeks exactly from now. Yeah, a month exactly as. Until then, have a good time. Enjoy your holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Bye.